Hola, chess people. Coach Matthew back with a sparring video, a training corner video about sparring. Sparring at different levels. For the beginner, for the young beginner, say you're the parent of a 4-year-old, 3-year-old, and they want to play a game of chess. And they know how the pieces move, but they're a total beginner and very young. What do you do? Well, you want to make sure they always see the strongest move possible depending on who the opponent is playing it. You don't have to be Carlsen to be the strongest opponent. No. The point is you want to show them good moves. Every single time it's your turn to move. They can do whatever they do, and that's perfectly fine, whatever it is. But what you do is equally as important. So what do? When first of all, you're going to win. Now, if you're just going to play and you're just as much as a beginner as they are, this doesn't really apply to that situation. This is when you know you're the stronger player, you have some experience with the game. You need not be any kind of expert or master, just that you know how to play. You've played before your whole life and you're playing a 3-year-old. Clearly, you're a stronger player and you're going to win. But you don't want to win. You don't want to win. You want to give that young beginner the experience of beating somebody 3 times as tall, twice as tall, a lot bigger, a lot older. Let them understand that they can compete in this game just as much as you can. And just because you're older or bigger or their parent, guardian, older relative, whatever it is, that doesn't matter. They can win just the same as you can. So it means when you get a winning position, you flip the board. You give them the better position every single time. And don't beat them. You can draw, but I wouldn't want to checkmate a very young beginning student. They're going to lose, yes, but not in that sparring game with you. They do need to. Loss will be that'll be another video, but in terms of the sparring, you want to make sure they win. Make it a positive experience. If they continuously lose, are they going to want to play? Every time they play against you, you're their parent and you're playing your 4-year-old and you smash them every time and they lose, 5 straight games, are they going to want to play again? Uh, I don't know. But if they win those games, but they're always seeing good moves, it'll go much farther. So, for example, and this is trivial, of course. Okay, so let's say we have e4, e5, d4, take, knight f3, knight c6. Let's Scotch gambit, and black is going to make a mistake here by taking. So white to play, and tactics, tactics, tactics. That is my name. That's my name too. Queen d5. So clearly white is in a better position after taking the bishop. Taking on b2, it's a bad idea because this bishop is going to be a monster. So what would you do here? The player with the black pieces is the complete beginner. They're in a pretty tough position. They can't even castle. This is not a fun position to play. So what do? This. You turn the board around physically. You're playing at home, you're playing it wherever. You turn the board around, give them the winning side, and then you just continue. So let's say, okay, I'm not trying to play a bad move. What is a good move here? I don't know what to play here as black. This is just bad. What am I gonna do? I don't even know what to do here. Let's. This is comical. Okay, fine here. Are we gonna just take on c3 with the queen? Probably should have looked at this earlier. Let's go ahead and simply do that. There's no dark square bishop, so this diagonal is fine. Okay, so you would continue to play, and they may well blunder piece. Actually, let's pretend they play knight c3. They're a beginner. Knight takes pawn. Let's do this instead. Now you take their queen. You're playing a total beginner. So what do you do here? All of a sudden they're losing. Once again, turn the board around. And now they have the winning side again. Continuously do this. Now, of course, explain to them that you're just playing for fun. This is not a serious game, because in serious games, in competitive play, you don't turn the board around. You need to make that clear to them at some point, maybe not if they're 4, but at some point make it clear that this is just something we're doing for fun at home, and this is perfectly fine. This allows the game to continue and continue and continue, where you don't play lackluster, where you play as well as you can to show them good moves. Young players, and this is particular to young beginning players, they're going to mimic whatever they see. At least here in this part of the world, Cupertino, Sunnyvale, San Jose, around there, you show a 4-year-old really strong chess moves, they are going to show you those same moves. They will mimic what they see. So show them strong moves at every opportunity, which means anytime a developing player can play a stronger opponent, they should seek to do that. And some players will be scared of this. They don't want to lose. They don't want to play a stronger opponent. They're scared. But instead of looking at it negatively, look at it positively. Explain that to the student, to the player, how it's to their advantage to play a stronger opponent. Are they going to lose? Probably. I wouldn't necessarily phrase it that way, but they may well lose. But when you lose a game of chess and you go and you get the most you can out of it as a student, as a developing player, you never lose. You benefit tremendously. You never really lose. You might have not gotten the full point in that game, or a half point. You got nothing. But in terms of knowledge and direct first-hand experience, you're getting the maximum. Hopefully you do, with the analysis of the game and everything that goes with it. Hopefully the developing player gets that. So for the very young beginner, only show them good moves. And make sure that you encourage them to take their time. That's also very important. The word of the day in my group classes, no matter the level, is slow, especially for the beginning class. It's always slow. Make sure they know and encourage them to take their time, to use their eyes, look at the entire bowl, whatever it is that they're doing at that level, but make sure they know they can take their time. Because once they go too fast, you can't break that bad habit. And if you're the trainer or parent who's showing your beginning student bad moves, that's something that somebody like me is going to have to undo at some point, which it just adds so much more work that's just holding the student back. Now, you don't have to be Carlsen. You don't have to be the world champion to show good moves. No. But try to show them the best moves you can. And if you're winning, turn the board around. Encourage them to take their time and make sure it's a fun experience for them. For the non-beginners, say you can be a young player, but you're not a beginner. You're whatever, quote, intermediate player. You could be an advanced beginner. Say your rating is not 100. And you're looking to spar. How do you do that? Well, if you're the hungry local player, first of all, you want to gain rating points, which means you don't want to risk rating points. So it means you're playing up. Okay, and that's not really sparring, that's competitive play. But how do you get that experience of playing lower rated players or players of your rating level without risking any rating points? What do you do? Well, you come to the local club, or you do it online in a pandemic, I guess, or whatever, but you do it unrated. It's important for the hungry, the very go-getting type, the gung-ho young chess player who always, some of my old students, all they want is a challenge. They don't look at it as a hurdle, they look at it as an opportunity. They want to play that grandmaster because they know they can compete with them, and they want that challenge as often as possible. So they don't want to play another 8-year-old. They don't want to play somebody rated 1500. They have nothing really to gain. But at some point, they're going to be at an age level, at a grade level, championship where you don't have the luxury of choosing your. Everybody's in the same section. So you play whoever the opponent is. You may be the highest rated in the section, they may be halfway down, but you have to play them anyways. And you need that experience over the board. So, where do you get that? You get it at the club. You get it unrated. You do need that experience. And of course, with sparring, ideally it's with the physical pieces because competitive chess is played physically over the board. So you're going to want to use the same weapons in practice that you use in battle. You want to use a chessboard and pieces. And nothing too crazy. Have it look similar to a tournament set. It can be really nice and jazzy, but have it pretty much be effectively the same. You don't want to have to figure out what you're looking at when you're playing chess. So have them play this gung-ho young chess player, have them play the players of their age and a lower rating level unrated. They need the experience, and they're going to have to usually win. They can't lose. You're 1500, you're playing at 1200, you can't lose, and you're going to win 9 out of 10, more than that. But you're going to want to play the 1300, the 1350, the 1400 unrated. Unrated. If rating is one of your goals and you do want that experience, it's very important because you're going to need to close the deal at some point. You need to win the games you need to win. Now, if you're the expert player looking to break into the open section, playing with masters, playing experts all the time, it's very important to have. It can be very beneficial, let me say that instead. It can be extremely beneficial to have an older, more experienced, higher rated sparring opponent for everything that comes with it. First of all, the chess is going to be stronger than yours. And hopefully the student is studying on their own, but seeing how a master does what they do and then discussing after the game in the postmortem, discussing with them, thanks Windows, discussing with them what happened in the game afterwards is of tremendous importance at any level of chess, but especially for the open section. I saw in Charlotte they had a GM Norm tournament, and FM Mighty was there, and when he was 5, he would ask me after his games, go, what were my mistakes? And we would talk about it, whether we played or he played another game. He wanted to discuss the game and learn from it so as to not make the mistake again. Of course, one of the differences between masters and everyone else is the frequency of mistake. And of course, strong players do not repeat mistakes, hence they are strong. So playing that higher rated, if you're 2100, play a 2400. Try to spar 2300. Somebody with more experience who's been there, done that, and can help relay those experiences to you. Maybe it's somebody who lives in town who went to the same school as you, somebody your family knows, your neighbor in Cupertino, whoever. But if you can have that experience, it is tremendously important. They're not holding your hand, but they've been there and done that, and they want to help you do the same in whatever capacity they can. And it doesn't have to be all the time. It's not as though they're your trainer. No, you play them every now and then and discuss the game afterwards. Very beneficial. Very beneficial. Also, it's another chess buddy you'll see out in competitive play, and that's always a good thing. Of course, don't waste their time. Now, if you're sparring against a computer opponent, this is very dangerous for the entire chess world unless it's handled properly. If you, it's always better to play a human um, when safe to do so. Certainly, it's always better to play a human being or a non-computer opponent. Let me say that. If your dog knows how to play chess well, play the dog better than a human. Play the dog. The computer opponent, if you're going to play it, and this is for the serious go-getter student, the hungry player, not for the casual. I want to see how quickly I can beat the computer. This is, and you scale it down. Just this is not that. You want to play the computer at its strongest setting, all out. These days, what would that rating be? You play an Alpha Zero rated 4,000? Yeah, that's what you want. You don't want to handicap the computer opponent because if you do, it's going to play at some point a well, not the most optimal move, or not even close to that, deliberately. So it's going to let you off the hook once. And if you are not crunching hardcore enough to understand that, it's going to make your game that much worse because you're going to think you can get away with subpar play because, oh, I'm playing the computer at level 9 instead of 10, which would be the highest, and it lets you off the hook. So, you're playing 2,500, not playing 2,800. There's a difference. So if you're playing the computer opponent, set it to its maximum difficulty. Make it go all out, and you will lose unless we go back a decade or whatever it is. But these days, you're gonna lose, and that's okay. But you want to see strong moves and understand them, and this is for all of us who are seeking to improve our play with this sparring. So for a beginner, make sure they see good moves. Make sure it's a positive experience for them. If you get a winning position, just change the board around and give them the winning position. Don't tell them what to do or how to do it. Encourage them to go slow, but show them good moves. And just by them seeing good moves, they're going to start mimicking what they see. That's how kids are. They mimic whatever they see. So if you show them really good moves in a game of chess, they're going to start making those moves for themselves. Hopefully they understand it, but even if not, the kid is going to figure it out. Chess is not terribly complicated. It's just people's bad habits that make chess more complicated because they get in their own way and they screw everything up and then it's too late. But if it's the young player who doesn't have any bad habits and doesn't develop any and only sees strong moves, that's what we've got going on out here. There's a lot of those kids who are just really good, really young because they don't beat themselves and the opponent does. For the hungry player seeking rating points, who's playing up, play the players of your class and lower, your age level and lower, who are not as strong as you. Play them unrated and try to play human every time. Of course, have the post-mortem, pick their brain. And the post-mortem, that'll be another video, but that's tremendously beneficial. Try to do that as often as possible and try to play a stronger player whenever possible to learn from the mistakes in the game and what their ideas were that weren't even shown in the game. If you're trying to, cross that 2200, you're trying to make master, find, if possible, locally or through some personal connection, not just you don't want to go, hey, such and such master on Twitch, you don't know me, I don't know you, but I want you to help me. That's not going to work. There's got to be some sort of connection. It need not be direct, but have, maybe your old coach or trainer knows somebody locally and they can ask, or maybe your family knows a family who knows a kid who's, a high schooler who's got some time maybe to spar. Okay, ask them. Maybe. But have a connection, somebody who's not a stranger, who can level with you and really try to help you out of just kindness. There's no, this is not hiring a trainer. No, this is just a, somebody who's a little older than you, who's a little more experienced or a lot more, who's better. And you're going to play them every now and then and pick their brain, ask them this, ask them that. And that is very helpful. It can really help to, it won't be so new of an experience for the student getting there for the first time. With the computer opponent, have it go all out, all out. And I would rather not play a computer opponent. If there's a choice, play a human. But if you're playing a computer, don't handicap it. Have it go all out. Otherwise, you're going to see bad moves. And unless you are really going through your games, you were let off the hook. And at the highest level, that doesn't happen. You'll be on the hook. So, sparring, it's going to happen. Try to handle it as best you can, and it can be tremendously beneficial. And this is, of course, assuming the student goes over their games, and I mean all of them, rigorously. And they need not do all of the weightlifting on their own, but they're going to have to put forth a majority of the work. And if they're not the type who's doing that or who wants to do that, sparring is not really that important. This is for the gung ho chess player, typically the younger one. Thank you for watching.